Value of K-culture to the moon.
Coffee break. Today's tidbit.
All right, it's time for our weekdays coffee break. Today's tidbit, joining us in the studio as she always does, Angela. Angela, hello to you.
Ayup. Yes, Jay.
Short Ayup.
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 I don't think the up is so long.
Ayup.
Ayup.
I did see it. I did. It still. It was very short. I guess she is our unofficial honorary Yorkshire ambassador. Of all the places that we're promoting here at the Culture Inc.,
Yorkshire.
not Seoul, not Jeju, but Yorkshire is we're promoting here. Anyways, what's today's tidbit?
Well, did you know, another did you know moment for you?
Yes.
Did you know that June has a lot of days related to the environment?
I did not know that, but I might have heard it somewhere.
Really?
I might have heard it somewhere.
Maybe on the archive.
I thought June just had a lot of military-related stuff.
They
no?
do have a lot of
Yeah.
military-related days as well, but
Okay.
in June, it starts with World Environment Day on June 5th, and then there's World Oceans Day on June 8th. Then there's World Day to Combat Desertification and Drought on June 17th. World Rainforest Day was just yesterday on June 22nd, and then World Decarbonization Day is coming up on the 25th.
That's a lot of awareness, environmental awareness to be packing in a
Yeah.
single month. But today is the 23rd.
Yes.
It's not any of those days.
That's true. But, with so many global environment days this month, I thought it was, a great chance to update on some environment-related news that affects our everyday life.
So what do you have for us then?
Well, let's start with something fitting of our segment, coffee break.
Yeah, okay.
Surprisingly, we have never discussed coffee on coffee break.
Have you not?
Yeah, I just realized this. So
Okay.
brought this in. This is news that will break hearts for coffee lovers like me. But according to Greenpeace, a cup of iced Americano could cost around 20,000 won, or nearly $15 25 years from now in the year 2050.
25 years from now. 25 years from now. It's going to be very, very different. It's going to be a very different world. Because of inflation, because of...
Yeah, but
'Cause-
even now, coffee prices have, increased in the past year in South Korea.
It's gone up a lot.
Yeah.
Americano will run you something like, some places will run you like 550, like 5,500,
Yeah.
which is expensive for an Americano.
It used to be like 4,500, 4,500.
Even that was considered very expensive.
Yeah, but the franchise that I often go to. But yeah, it is increasing. And, to put that... To put 20,000 won into comparison, that is the average price for a glass of whiskey in South Korea. And even if you have the money, actually coffee might be sold out due to raw material shortages by 2050.
Good news, guys. It's going to be okay in 25 years from now to be just sipping on whiskey instead of coffee, because it's going to be the same price. This is exactly what I did in Prague.
But can you imagine if
What?
coffee prices are increasing, then whiskey
yeah,
prices
whiskey.
will also be increasing.
That is true. Rye prices might go up as well.
Yeah.
Man, all right. But why would coffee prices increase so much? That's a lot, though. 20,000, though, even with, like, inflation and
Yeah.
stuff?
So coffee beans are extremely sensitive to climate conditions. So rising temperatures and unpredictable weather, which we are already seeing, is making it harder to grow them.
So it's not about the prices, it's about the availability as well, which
Exactly.
actually, that's the, basics economics 101,
Exactly.
right?
So Greenpeace held an event in Gwanghwamun at the end of May, and one of the most popular booths was called out the 2050 store, where all kinds of everyday goods were marked as sold out, and coffee, wine,
No!
apples, even squid and abalone were displayed as items we might lose due to climate change.
No, it's impact. It's gone personal now.
Yes.
It's gone. But I did hear, though, it is getting very, very difficult for winemakers
Exactly.
these days because of the climate change right now. I'm worried. Tell us about these bad news, though.
Well,
I mean, yeah. Before all this, though, what is it?
At the event, people were really shocked. They reacted like you did just now after hearing that wine is sold out. I mean, one campaigner explained how the price of Arabica coffee beans has already doubled over the past year. Even here in Korea, as I mentioned, instant coffee and cafe prices have gone up. And again, bad news for USJ. Wine might vanish.
It's not. Whoa. Let's not use the word. Let's not use the V word. Let's not use the V word.
Coffee is just price increase, but wine might actually become extinct.
Which gives me all the more reasons to buy many now. And just keep it in the sun.
I did not know you would turn the story like that, but
this is concerning though.
Yeah, so the reason behind wine disappearing is vineyards around the world are losing up to 73% of their growing areas due to increasing temperatures and climate change again.
You know, I feel like we always hear about climate change, climate crisis, and like very abstract terms, but this really hits home.
Yeah.
It's hitting me hard, Angela. I don't know how to make of this.
And, that's what the event was all about. They asked participants to write down pieces of everyday life they'd be sad to lose. For me, coffee, because I'm a coffee lover. But people also wrote, like, the sound of bees. Bees are disappearing.
That's true. We talked about this before. I haven't seen bees in a really, really long time.
And then sweet chocolate shared with a loved one. Chocolate is also being... You don't like chocolate?
I could do without chocolate.
Okay, and the crispness of fall. I've mentioned this before. Fall is disappearing.
It is disappearing, and which is a shame because it happens to be my favorite season.
We've also discussed, the sea temperatures rising, right? So that also impacts the ocean, and clean fish without microplastics would also be very difficult to see.
It's really the little things
Definitely
adding up to very big things.
And what makes it even more urgent is that it's not just about food. Even outdoor events like summer music festivals may also disappear by 2050 due to extreme heat. If temperatures keep rising, we might not be able to gather outside safely in the summer.
I love what Angela wrote on the script, as if I'm supposed to react the same way that I reacted with no wine. No summer concerts?
I know! Yes, but this is very personal for me
I know
because
for you
I
it's
love
big.
concerts. Yeah. But all of this shows just how much our daily joys are tied to a stable environment. That's what I wanted to say.
Gosh, no, guys, it's serious. It's really personal now. Coffee, I love coffee, but I'm not gonna scream. Because coffee is getting more expensive. I will scream if there's no wine, which is I gotta keep more wine, keep more of them in my cellar. I'm gonna continue to talk about this, but first let's take a listen to the iconic song Shipsenchi with Americano.
Americano, 좋아 좋아 좋아. 아메리카노 진해 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 어떻게 하노 시럽 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 빼고 주세요 빼고 주세요 이쁜 여자와 담배 피고 차 마실 때 메뉴판이 복잡해서 못 고를 땐 사글세 내고 돈 없을 때 밥 대신에 짜장면 먹고 후식으로 아메리카노 좋아 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 아메리카노 깊어 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 어떻게 하노 설탕 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 빼고 주세요 빼고 주세요 여자친구와 싸우고서 바람 필 때 다른 여자와 힘 맞추고 담배 필땐 마라톤하고 감질나게 목 죽일 땐 순댓국 먹고 후식으로 아메리카노 좋아 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 쏘쏘쏘 썩 빼고 주세요 빼고 주세요 빼고 주세요 빼고 주세요
This is according to the Ministry of the Interior and Safety. As a heat wave continues in most parts of the country, risks of safety accidents while playing in the water are rising. Please make sure to wear a life jacket when playing in the water at beaches, rivers, valleys, and children must be accompanied by a guardian. Do not swim after drinking alcohol. Evacuate from the water if it rains heavily, and in case of an accident, notify people around you and immediately call 119. Now we go back to our regular program. You're listening to Arirang Radio.
And the last track you heard, the iconic Shipsenchi with Americano. That's how I like my coffee.
I prefer lattes.
Sometimes I do. Like on days when I'm just like, when I'm really tired and I need some sugar in me, because I only drink latte with a lot of sugar, like a sweet latte.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I never have a sweet latte. I mean, but I don't like Americanos. I like drip coffee, you know?
It's like, I mean, I'm not going to make fun of you because, I make fun of Napenson for drinking G7, cheap wine and stuff like that. My taste in wine is very expensive, so I guess you could have very expensive taste in coffee. Have you ever had coffee luwak before?
No.
You've never had it?
No.
You know what it is, right?
No.
Coffee luwak is from Vietnam.
Okay.
There's a civet cat that eats the coffee bean, poops it out.
Oh, I've heard about it.
And then you roast that.
Yeah.
It's
I have
like,
heard about it.
It's like 30,000 won for a glass of it, I think it is. I've had it once.
How is it?
It's overrated. It's
I think
very
the
overrated.
most expensive glass of coffee I've had was also around that price, like Hawaii Kona coffee.
Oh,
like
they have
Blue Mountain coffee.
Jamaican Blue Mountain coffee is the greatest coffee in the world.
That was amazing. But we're discussing how coffee might disappear by 2050.
This is worse. This is bad.
Yeah.
We're really indulging in how delicious some of the coffee that we have. We're just going to be talking about how expensive it is and how it's disappearing. Okay, so we've been talking about environment and how June has many days related to the environment. Are there any other things that we should keep in mind?
Yeah, well, June and summer coming up. One of them is summer vacation.
Sure.
You know how popular overseas trips are, especially during this season. You actually discussed it in the opening. But people might want to think twice about the environmental impact.
Because of the flights, the airplanes.
Yes, exactly. So flights are one of the biggest contributors to personal carbon footprints. One study looked at how much carbon a 4-person family emits during summer travel. If they fly from Seoul to Hawaii, for example, they emit over 4,400 kilograms of CO2. And to put that into perspective again, that's equivalent to using and tossing more than 66,000 plastic cups.
Taylor Swift, are you listening?
Exactly. Taylor Swift is actually criticized the most because of, her world tours. But actually she balances that out with how much she brings to the community. Her tours actually are economically impactful for the community.
It's so much traveling she does. I don't think that there's no way she balances that out. But how is that compared to domestic travel then?
Well, it's huge. That same family that traveled to Hawaii, if they traveled to Sokcho in Gangwon-do province by train, they would only emit 15 kilograms of carbon CO2. So flying to Hawaii emits nearly 300 times more carbon than a local train trip.
So even something as simple as where you go for summer vacation can really have like a major impact on the environment.
Yes. Even flying to nearby Okinawa emits 754 kilograms, which equals more than 11,000 plastic cups. And, it's not just about distance. How you get there also matters as well. For domestic destinations, trains are the most eco-friendly option, followed by buses and then cars. Planes are by far the worst. Again, some singers have to keep that in mind.
There are ways to get to Jeju without taking the plane. It just takes a very long time. But are there any good news?
Of course, there's always a good side to things. People are making changes for the better. For the first time ever, eco-friendly cars like electric vehicles and hybrids surpassed gasoline and diesel cars in domestic monthly sales here in Korea. In May, they made up over 50% of all new car sales.
I still won't buy an electric car.
Why? Because safety issues?
Yes, I still don't trust it. I really don't trust it yet. But eventually, I think everyone's going to end up switching over to
so too.
Electric cars. But this is a milestone, though.
It really is. According to South Korea's Ministry of Trade, Industry and Energy, this shift is happening because more people are prioritizing sustainability in their choices. And with better infrastructure and subsidies, buying an eco-friendly car is more accessible now.
And this kind of change gives people hope, some hope.
Yes, and it's part of a much bigger conversation that includes major global campaigns like, again, World Environment Day. Going back to what we discussed earlier, World Environment Day is the United Nations main outreach day for environmental protection, and it's supported by over 143 countries, including Korea.
Let's see that with action, though, guys.
Yes.
143 countries, guys. But how long has this been celebrated?
World Environment Day has been going on since 1973 and tackles everything from marine pollution to sustainable development. Each year there's a new theme, and in 2025 the focus is on plastic pollution.
Plastic pollution. This
Yes.
feels especially relevant right now.
Definitely. Plastic is everywhere. Literally even in our bodies.
You calling me plastic?
Microplastics.
Okay.
You know, actually, the modern person has more microplastics than ever. This year's campaign is all about encouraging individuals, communities, and governments to adopt real-world, nature-inspired solutions.
And so June's not just about raising awareness, but it's really about setting stage for real policy change, and this is what we need.
Yes, between expensive coffee, disappearing wine, CO2-heavy vacations, people are starting to connect the dots. And, while these changes might not happen overnight, it's, the small choices that really add up.
Before we say goodbye, you chose a song by Akmu. Hey
Yes.
Kid, Close Your Eyes, 전쟁터. Why this song?
The lyrics are actually allude to an apocalypse. So everyone, care for the earth if you don't want to see this world coming.
A world without wine. Oh my goodness. Angela, have a good rest of your night.
You too. See you tomorrow.
또 빠져 이렇게 녹이 못 살아 그만 내 머리는 이미 과거 Baby 나였다면 stay here 동물원 but can't dance 그때에 보였을까 feel my feelings I don't know just give it Pick it up be or be balanced game up in my mind 난 골라야만 하는 걸까 그 물음 앞에서 난 꿀먹은 내 벙어리 희귀한 선택에 팔레줄 몰라는 색 Game up in my wall 날 골라야만 하는 걸까 그 물음 앞에서 난 꾸벅은 듯벙어리 신기한 선택에 팔려줄 몰라는 색 고민해서 거듭서게 and 머릿속 반복되는 너는 pain I just wanna talk Can you carry on body 확률은 50-50 내 선택이 곧 현실 어느 정도 나를 막실 인간도 yes it A와 B 사이의 choices 날지도 뽀뽀뽀게 사람 마냥 날 이제
Download the Arirang Radio.
Coffee break. Today's tidbit.
All right, it's time for our coffee break. Today's tidbit, and joining us in the studio is Angela. Angela, hello to you.
Hi, SJ.
Angela,
Yes.
do you want to do the Eat the Mic challenge?
No, thank
Okay.
you.
I'm not going to ask you twice. I'm just saying.
I don't get
It's a trap.
to make Iris seem cute. But like,
It's a trap.
Iris is already cute.
That's what I said. I'm not gonna lie. No hate here. No, or, as young people say, no cap. No cap. She is cute. But she doesn't.
And also, like, eating a mic is disgusting.
I know, but then she says like it was like make believe or something like that. I don't know. But again, my challenge to you, Iris, if you're still tuning in,
Sorry.
is you have to collaborate with me. We have to make a song together. Then I'll eat the mic. I'll actually really eat the mic.
I was really into the like game intro you were talking
Oh,
about.
do you play games?
Like, I don't play computer games, but when I was young, our family had a Nintendo 64 and a PS2, and we would play games on that.
I remember you were saying that you might still have the original.
Yeah, we still have the Nintendo 64.
And like all the games and stuff like that.
and,
You could
like,
sell that for a lot of money.
No, but like I get too nostalgic. It's too sentimental. Like, we have the original Legend of Zelda and the original Mario's.
There's always a price for for memories, Angela. There's always a price. Sell it.
No.
I'm telling you, it's good stuff. I remember you telling me this. I said the same thing. Sell it.
Yeah.
Sell it. Oh man, we got a lot of gamers out here. What are we gonna be talking about today?
Not games.
Okay.
I have a question. Have you watched anything lately besides 나는 솔로?
I mean, there's like always stuff I watch when I'm eating. I'm always watching The Office.
How many times have you watched it?
I'm in my 10th time now. It might be the 11th. I lost count, to be honest with you. Yeah, only not so. That's all I watch. I don't watch anything else. Why?
Last night, I watched something just for coffee break.
Oh, okay, okay.
As you know, like, we sometimes discuss animation films. We sometimes discuss K-pop.
Sure.
Today we're going to discuss both.
Oh, I know what you're going to talk about.
What am I going to talk about?
You're going to talk about that thing that everybody's been talking about these days.
So,
is it
like,
K-pop demons or something?
Yeah, there's a new animated film on Netflix that was released on June 20th, and it has been suddenly gaining so much global attention. It's called K-pop Demon Hunters.
Oh, Demon Hunters, okay.
Yes, and we prepared, I think we're going to show the trailer shortly. So if anyone is tuning in through YouTube, they can see it. Yeah. So it's basically like K-pop Demon Hunters is like an action-packed musical fantasy comedy.
Okay.
Yes, basically it follows a K-pop girl group called Huntrix, stylized as Huntrix with a slash. They live double lives as demon hunters.
Oh, I thought it was like you're fighting people with music or something like that.
They are.
Maybe like supernova and start like popping on people.
So
like
Huntrix by day are like global idols, but by night they're saving the world from dark spirits trying to take over.
I don't get me wrong. I think it's cool. I really think it's cool. So it's very 2025, guys. K-pop meets demon slaying.
Yes.
I would not have ever imagined something like this would ever come out.
Me neither.
But it's 2025, guys. It can happen. Tell us about this.
Well, so the three main characters that we just saw are called Rumi, Mira, and Zoe, all of whom have distinct personalities, powers, and struggles. And I think like they seem like real idols, which I think draws the audience in.
I mean, okay.
I was surprised by how much I enjoyed it last night.
You know what it is I know it's animation, but they don't have the K-pop makeup.
Yes, they do.
Really?
Yeah, you didn't get to see it.
I know I did see
They
it.
have the whole K-pop attire.
No, the attire
K-pop
they have it.
makeup.
Really?
Yeah, and their songs are like just pure K-pop. But it's so good. So
I guess you really like this.
I mean, like, I saw it with my friends last night, and we were just like, "Why is this good?"
Okay, here's the thing though. If it's K-pop, there's music involved and
Yes.
stuff. I want to know who the voices behind the characters
Yeah,
are.
so the voices and the singing is done by different people, but Rumi, the main character, is voiced by Arden Cho, and the singing is done by EJ. Mira is voiced by Mei Hong. Her singing voice is Audrey Nuna. Zoe is voiced by Jiyoung Yu with music by Ray Ami, and their songs are like really legit K-pop, produced by top-tier producers like Teddy Park, famous for his collaboration
Oh,
with White
Teddy!
Lotus. Yeah.
Teddy's great.
Yeah,
He's
so-
my favorite producer.
Yeah, so the production value is really good.
Okay. Oh my goodness, see, that's really acting like an idol. That was, oh, I see.
Yeah.
Oh, I see what you're talking about here. It is okay. It's very black pinkish.
That is exactly what I thought when I heard their first song. It is. So the producers actually said they drew inspiration from a lot of different K-pop idols. For Huntrix, they drew from. There's a. So we're gonna talk about those two. The male boy band. So
it's so realistic.
yeah. So the producers say they drew Huntrix from ITZY, Blackpink, and Twice.
Okay.
And Huntrix performs original tracks like How It's Done and Golden, and Twice sings an original soundtrack called Takedown. And we saw the boy bands just now, right?
Yeah.
Their rival group is called Saja Boys. A boy band secretly made up of demons that are here on Earth to take over. The name Saja is a wordplay as it can mean both lion, the idol group's icon, and 저승 사자, or
Grim
green.
Reaper.
Yeah. So their leader is Chinoo, voiced by An Hyo-sop, which is a demon with a tragic past.
An Hyo-sop seems like a familiar name.
Yeah.
He's an artist.
Yeah,
right?
he's a famous actor here in Korea. He starred in dramas like 낭만 닥터 김사부 or Dr. Romantic. And a lot of people were surprised to hear him speak English so well. But it turns out he was born in Seoul but immigrated to Toronto at the age of 6 and grew up there.
Oh, Canada, eh?
Yeah, explaining why his Korean and English delivery both sound supernatural. And guess what? This is not the end. There's also some more famous names in the film.
Tell us.
Kim Yoon-jin voices Celine, a mentor
Kim
for
Yoon-jin?
Huntrix. Yes, and get
Oh.
this, Lee Byung-won.
Get out of here.
Lee Byung-won voices Kima, the main villain of the film. I don't want to spoil the film, but at the beginning of the film, Kima, in the very distinctive voice of Lee Byung-won, says "Demon Boy Band," and later even sings along to their songs. So yeah, I think that's when you get it sort of, okay, this is the vibe. The film is going to be quirky and cheesy in a very good way.
So, what about the other members of Saja Boys?
As I mentioned, the film is known for its funny moments, and the team members' names are part of it. Jinwoo's team members include members like Abby, for abs, Baby, Mystery, and Romance. I think they sort of represent the stereotypes of how boy band members each have an image.
Saja Boys in the ho, rhyme cranking, rhyme ho. Why do they also sing?
Yes, their debut track in the film is called Soda Pop. We're going to take a listen to it soon. And there's even a final battle at Namsan Tower with another hit song called Your Idol. I actually like this song. It's really absurd, but it's also really amazing.
I could imagine the fight. It's like a dance-off. Who dances better? Who sings better? Very quickly, what's the visuals like?
It's animated by Sony Pictures Imageworks, the same studio as Spider-Verse series. Yeah, so it's really good. But K-pop Demon Hunters mixes Korean drama aesthetics with anime energy and K-pop concert lighting.
All right, we're going to continue to talk about this, but we talked about Saja Boys in the ho, rhyme cranking, rhyme ho, Saja Boys with Soda Pop.
Don't want you, need you, yeah, I need you to fill me up. 마시고 마셔봐도 상해졌지 않아. Got a feeling that, oh yeah, you could be everything that I need. Taste so sweet, every sip makes me want more, yeah. Licking like snack, cause you got it like that. Take a big bite, want another bite, yeah. 너의 모든 걸 나 원해. 너 말고 모두 번해. When you're in my arms, I hold you so tight. Can't let go, no, not tonight. 지금 당장 날 봐, 시간 없잖아. 넌 내 거야, 이미 알고 있잖아. Cause I need you to need me. And then till you feel me so refreshing. My little soda pop. You're all I can think of. Every drop I drink up. You're my soda pop. My little soda pop. 꿈이 가면 so hot. Pull me up, I won't stop. You're my soda pop. My little soda pop. My little soda pop.
Make me wanna flip the top. 한번 come make you hit the spot. Every little drip and drop, fizz and pop. 소름 돋아, it's getting hot. Just I'm sipping when it's dripping out. It's done. I need a second round and pour a lot. And don't you stop till my soda pop fizzles out.
속에 그려왔던 너. 난 절대 놓칠 수 없어.
Saja Boys with Soda Pop. You know, I realized one of the guys on Saja Boys with the white shirt looks a bit like Johan from the archive.
The black-haired guy.
Yeah, the
That
black
is
hair.
Chino.
Uh-huh.
It was based off, the producer said they made him off of Taono and Nam Joo-hyuk and a lot of famous Korean actors.
Oh, Johan, did you hear this? Yeah, I did really look like Johan. It had the Johan feel. Except, less. Johan's more humble. That guy was just he's full of himself. All of this sounds very dynamic, Angela, but does it go beyond the visuals is what I want to know.
Definitely. And I think that's one of the more cool aspects of the film and also a reason why it's getting so much love. Director Magi Kang, who's Korean American, says she wanted to create a story rooted in Korean culture and mythology, and I think they succeeded in doing that.
Okay, for example?
All throughout the film, you see influences from Busok Sinang or Korean shamanism, traditional spirits, and even folk art. A Honmun or soul gate appears in the film and is protected by the idol demon hunters' voices, which is a modern twist on old beliefs in Korea, like 귀신이 음악을 좋아한다, ghosts love music.
Yeah, that's why they say, parents used to tell you don't sing or whistle at night and stuff like that because it'll bring about ghosts. This is like what is it, popular culture research team on a Tuesday.
And do you know the phrase 무당팔자가 연예인 팔자?
I've heard of that.
Oh, so it's shamanist, fate is kind of like a celebrity fate. So this film kind of plays on that. In the film, the original demon hunters were shamans who used music and dance to fight evil. And in 2025, they've evolved into K-pop idols.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I've heard. This is 무당팔자가 연예인 팔자. I've heard about this because a friend of mine who's actually in the industry, she was saying that when she said she was like something very close to her future, it was Haju.
Yeah.
Was like 1 day away. If she was born like a day later or something like that,
She would have been a shaman.
yeah, she was supposed to be a shaman or something like that, and so it gave me goosebumps. But again, we're talking about how it incorporates a lot of Korean culture into this, which is the amazing part. It's not just singing and dancing and stuff like that. What other examples are there?
So I prepared a photo for this, but this is really cute and cool. There's a guardian tiger and a mischievous magpie that appears as messengers. This is the film drawing inspiration from minhwa or Korean folk painting like takodo. So this is like Korean traditional folk painting, tiger and magpie paintings. And some have joked that the magpie also looks like the back of a Samsung Galaxy phone. So like true Korean.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. It does. It does have. I have the Ultra, so it has two more. But I was saying like the cat. The tiger kind of looks like from Alice in Wonderland.
Oh, yeah, the Cheshire Cat.
Yeah, the Cheshire Cat. But I can understand with the painting that we just saw. So I love how it goes beyond just like K-pop. It gives another nod to Korean culture.
Exactly. And there's another reason Korean viewers are loving it. And they really did pay attention to small things to make the film feel authentic. Like the characters put tissue on their chopsticks at stores. They eat kukbak to comfort themselves. There are handwritten fan signs you can see at K-pop concerts, at the Huntrix's concert, and also prepared, people are posting screenshots online when they find these small Korean things. Like you can see signs of Hanyeon herbal clinics, and one viewer said this is like peak Korea because cars are parked illegally on top of the 주차 금지 sign. Like no parking sign. Like, okay, they really did come to Korea when they prepared this. And so it actually feels like Korea. They're not just like trying to make something out of something fake, but they're actually incorporating the real Korean.
That's so funny. The parking thing is so funny.
Yeah, and also if you look at the concert, behind the character is actually, you can see it faintly at 1월 오봉도. It's like a Korean painting of the sun and moon. You can see it behind the king usually at Gyeongbokdo. Yeah, so they actually put in a lot of these traditional Korean aspects here and there in the film. So it's really fun to find that as well.
That's really cool. Again, I know that K-pop is very popular all around the world. So what's been like the global reaction like?
It's been massive. Within 2 days of release, the film had #1 on Netflix's global charts across 26 countries as of Monday afternoon. It topped lists not just in Asia, but also in the US, France, Germany, and Switzerland, and it was also in the top 10 in 93 countries.
That's pretty big for
Yeah.
an animated film about K-pop.
Yeah, and it has K-pop in the title, but it didn't throw off audience. And it's not just the fans that love it. On Rotten Tomatoes, critics gave it a 94% score.
Wow.
Audience ratings are also at 95%. So, people really do love it.
Yeah, so what about the critics? What are they saying?
Reviews are praising the high production value, the fast-paced action, and layered humor about how it pokes fun at K-pop, K-drama tropes while keeping it real. And Collider called it beautifully bonkers, and I agree with this.
That's one of my favorite words, bonkers. But this is all made in a U.S. studio?
Yeah, it's the first time a foreign production has captured K-pop and Korean tradition so seamlessly, and there's already talk of a sequel, especially since some lore was left unresolved. Fans want more Huntrix, more of the Saja Boys, and more Korean culture mixed with K-pop.
Well, hearing how well it's doing from you, I guess, the fans might get their wish, right?
Yeah, maybe. And but if this proves anything, it's that a good story rooted in Korean culture, but told with style, can actually connect globally. And so, demon hunting idols sounds crazy at first, but it works.
And you know what, Angela, I'm glad you brought this out and also broke down the cultural aspect of this, because for a lot of people, maybe not from Korea, when they see it, they might not catch all those Korean cultures, right? So great stuff there. Go check it out. The Saja Boys. Angela, we're going to be actually listening to a song that you said was sung by Twice,
Yes,
right?
it's in the film as well.
Right. So this is Twice's 정연, 지효, 채영 with Takedown. We'll see you again tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. Coffee break. Today's tidbit.
All right, it's time for our weekdays coffee break. Today's tidbit, and joining us in the studio is Angela. Angela, hello to you.
How man?
What? What? Say that again.
I wanted to everyone is saying ew, right?
We gotta get out of the Yorkshire.
I looked up different accents. I asked my friend. He said a Geordie accent is this. I don't know if this is hello, but he said something like "How man."
Well, we have Disobedient Space Whales from Newcastle.
Oh, good. He can see if it's real.
What is it again?
How man.
I gosh. I've been too Yorkshireized. Hayo man.
Howie.
Howie?
Howie man.
That sounds very Chinese. Howie mate. Howie man.
Man.
Howie man. That sounds Jamaican.
Is it right?
Hawaii man. Hawaii man. Anyways, let's go back to English. What's our tidbit today?
Well, as you mentioned in the opening, today is a very meaningful date in Korean history.
It is.
June 25th marks exactly 75 years since the outbreak of the Korean War.
It is. 75 years. In some ways, it feels like a long time. In some ways, it feels like not too long ago if you
Yeah.
look at the entire history of Korea in itself.
Exactly.
But yeah, 75 years is a long time though.
Yeah, and the Korean, so to give everyone just a little history break, the Korean War started on June 25th, 1950, when North Korea launched a full invasion across the 38th parallel. What followed was a devastating 3-year conflict that involved not only both Koreas, but also major global powers like the US, the Soviet Union, and China, and it was one of the first major proxy wars of the Cold War era.
And the thing about this that some people forget is that the war technically never ended.
Exactly. The fighting stopped in 1953 with an armistice, not a peace treaty. So North and South Korea remain divided to this day, both in territory and in ideology, and that's where the DMZ comes in.
And of course, the DMZ being the demilitarized zone, right?
Yes. The Korean Demilitarized Zone, or DMZ, is a 250-kilometer long, 4-kilometer wide strip of land that serves as a buffer between the two Koreas. It was created in the Armistice Agreement, with both sides agreeing to pull back their troops 2 kilometers from the front line.
So it's called demilitarized,
Mm-hmm.
but I've heard it's actually actually one of the most heavily
Yes.
militarized borders in the world.
Yes, the DMZ itself is void of large military forces, but just beyond it, both sides have heavily armed troops stationed along the border, and one key part of the DMZ is the Joint Security Area, or JSA.
That's right. And just last Friday with Eugene's, we talked about the movie
Exactly.
JSA, right?
Yeah, so JSA is the place, with the blue buildings where North and South Korean soldiers stand face to face. We can also see it in the film. But it's often called Panmunjom, though technically that was the name of the original village nearby.
Yeah, that's why we call it Panmunjom Truce Village, the
Yes.
Truce Village of Panmunjom. But let's talk about what's so special about the JSA.
So the JSA is the only place where troops from both sides stand within arm's length of each other. It's been used for military talks, diplomatic meetings, and even iconic moments like the 2018 Inter-Korean Summit.
Yeah, I mean, there was a number of summits that happened over time. I don't know if you guys remember, but, Donald Trump, he actually briefly went over to the north side
Yeah.
when he met with Kim Jong-un at the Truce Village of Panmunjom. But here's the thing, though. Can just like civilians visit the JSA?
Well, in the past, yes, but since July 2023, tours have been suspended after a U.S. soldier crossed the border during a tour. So for now, the JSA is off limits to the public.
Yeah, you guys probably remember him.
Yeah,
Right? His
it
name
was
like
big news.
Travis something. I forgot his name, but he
Yeah.
went over, and North Korea was like, "We don't want you."
It was all over the headlines.
Yeah, he kind of ruined it for
Mm-hmm.
everybody, and he basically went in as a tour member
Yeah.
and just went in there, just yeeted. That's terrible because I know that a lot of people out there want to actually take the time to go to
Mm-hmm.
the JSA. But are there other places around the DMZ that are open to tourists, though?
Yeah, definitely. DMZ tours are actually quite popular for foreigners and Koreans alike. And many say it's actually incredibly moving. Most start at Imjinggak Peace Park in Paju, Gyeonggi-do Province. And it's just outside the restricted zone and it was built to honor those separated by the war.
What can tourists find there, though?
There are a lot of symbolic spots like the Bridge of Freedom,
Oh, yeah.
the Wall of Remembrance, and there's even a little souvenir shop there that sells North Korean stamps and currency.
It really does sound like a place where history really comes alive, you know?
I looked up while preparing. I looked up some photos, and I was so shocked because it seemed so untouched, and everything seemed, really well preserved. But like to give you some more. About this place. From Imjinggak, many tours continue to the Tora 전망대 or Tora Observatory, where you can actually look into North Korea through telescopes. On clear days, people say that you can spot the city of Kaesong and even a massive flagpole in North Korea. There's also Torasan Station, the northernmost train station in South Korea. It doesn't run any trains into the north, but it represents the hope for a reunification.
Yeah, there is a number of observatories, and maybe that the one that you talked about is the one in Paju. If you go to there's one in Paju,
yes.
right? And then like if you go up there, you could actually see villages, like North Korean villages from far away using the telescope there. But what else is there?
A big part of the attractions is a tunnel.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, have you heard of it?
Yeah.
So the third infiltration tunnel is one of the most eye-opening parts of the tour. It was dug by North Korea through solid rock and was discovered in 1978. You can walk part way through it wearing a hard hat, but I looked through the reviews and be warned, it's narrow and the incline is steep on the way back, so you want to be prepared if you want to go on this tour.
Yeah, so there's a number of tunnels, and the scary thing about this is they're saying that, well, they don't really know how many tunnels there really are, right? And it was just the ones that they discovered there, obviously, and they blocked off anything that goes to North Korea, and they use it as like a tourist destination here. And I'm just kind of assuming that you just can't walk into these places. There's a lot of security, you know?
Yeah, no, you can't. Except for Imjinggak, most sites in and around the DMZ require you to join a guided tour.
And you get to experience all that in one day?
Yeah, DMZ tours typically last about 6 to 8 hours.
Holy cow.
Yeah, a round trip from Seoul.
That's so long.
Whoa.
A tour? Wow.
But it is far from Seoul if you start from Seoul.
Oh, if you
Yeah.
start from... Okay.
Yeah. And believe it or not, there's even a gondola right there, which is a big part of the whole tour.
What? Gondola?
Yeah.
in the DMZ?
Yeah, it's called the Paju Imjinggak Peace Gondola, and it lets you float above the Imjin River into what's technically the civilian-controlled zone. It's the world's first gondola operating inside a military buffer area. If you take a ride on it, you can get panoramic views. You can pass military insignias along a military street and end at a peace-themed overlook where people hang wish ribbons for reunification.
Yeah, I mean, it's you get all sorts of different feelings. I feel like when you go there. Kai says it was closed when I visited, then they opened the JSA back up, and then that happened when the U.S. soldier went in there. So. I mean, this is a lot. This is an incredible tour experience that you can get here. Yeah, well, we're going to continue to talk about, of course, with the 75th anniversary of the outbreak of the Korean War today. You chose a song here from Triple S, Chiu. Any particular reason? Healing?
Yeah, healing.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's all we need right now. There's Chiu by Triple S.
Don't never mind, say it out loud. 마른 꽃잎처럼 이 겨울을 이겨내리라. 하루 종일 난 지쳤어. 하루 내게 난 미쳤어. I should fall in love. 그냥 너만 사랑할래. 거친 자갈 모래 위 내 눈물이 흘러. 또 처음부터 잘 할 수 없는 걸 난 알아. Falling in the water. 지나고 나면 봄이 오는 소리와 내 눈물 소리. Diving underwater.
And that was Triple S with Chiyu, as in heal. By the way, Angela, before we get into this, Disobedient Space Will over in Newcastle said you did very, very, very good, Kenny.
Thank you.
How are man?
Yay.
How
That's a confidence boost for the Geordie in me.
I'm gonna go scouts on you. All right, la.
All right, la.
All right, la. Anyways, we've been talking about the 75th anniversary of the outbreak of the Korean War. We talked about the DMZ. We talked about the tours that you could take on. Anything else that people should know if they're thinking about visiting these places?
Oh, well, there's something new to the place, actually. One recent highlight is the new Starbucks.
Oh, geez.
At 애기봉 평화 생태공원, 애기봉 Peace Eco Park in Gimpo.
As if you can't have enough Spucks here in the country.
Like, you wouldn't imagine one to be there, but there it is.
Okay.
It opened in late 2024 and has just 30 seats, but the view is reportedly spectacular. You can see directly across the Imjin and Han rivers into North Korea, and it's become a hotspot for tourists and even journalists and anyone interested in Korean history and geopolitics, really.
So what makes this particular location so special, though?
So the cafe sits at the Aegibong Observatory in Gimpo, where the two Koreas are separated by just 1.4 kilometers.
Oh, wow.
It's also a major site for Christmas peace ceremonies and ecological preservation efforts. And even though the cafe is temporary, it's only allowed to operate there until 2028.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's actually drawing a lot of attention from around the world that CNN even did a highlight article about it.
Okay, that is very special then. I mean, if it's like a temporary cafe and it's Spucks, really is surreal contrast. Right? Coffee with the view of the most closed off country on earth where they hate capitalism. And
that is actually the code CNN used.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I mean, you're basically using the symbol of capitalism towards a communist country.
Yeah.
It's really is surreal.
Yeah, it really speaks to the uniqueness of Korea's geography and history. And one moment, you're sipping a latte, and the next you're staring into a, former battlefield, which is still technically in a state of war. So
Yeah.
I guess that itself is an experience.
So are there any restrictions for visiting places like this, though?
Yes, especially inside the civilian control zone. Visitors need to go through security checks, they need to sign waivers, and of course bring ID, and military guards control access at all times.
And what else should tourists look out for?
So there is a dress code for DMZ tours, and it used to be quite strict. You can't wear jeans or miniskirts or anything that North Korea might consider provocative.
Oh.
Yeah, but it is slowly becoming more relaxed. But still, you need to keep in mind that you can't wear sparkly jewelry or bright clothing that might catch a guard's eye, because sparkly jewelry, it might reflect and it could lead to unintentional conflict.
Yeah.
So yeah, you have to keep that in mind.
You might be going, oh, that's a little bit too far, but you have to understand the tension.
Yeah.
The tension in the soldiers, I mean, the smallest thing could trigger them.
Yeah.
And so you have to be extra
Exactly.
careful. And as we know, with anything like this, safety comes first.
Exactly. And just to clarify again, JSA tours remain suspended, but DMZ tours that visit places like the Tora Observatory, the third and second tunnel, and Imjinggak are running regularly. So foreigners, if they're interested, can join through certified agencies. And, if you're visiting Korea, you might want to check that out. It's only 8 hours max.
I mean, no, but I feel like this is one of the more popular tours. Again, I mean, a number of our listeners are talking about how, they're either interested in going or they wanted to go, they couldn't, and things like that. What's been kind of the general reaction from the international visitors, though?
So I looked it up, and most actually mentioned about how fascinating it is, but they also expressed a lot of surprise by how emotional they got. Reviews are overwhelmingly positive, and I understand because there's really nothing quite like it elsewhere in the world. It's a modern war site that doubles as a nature preserve and a living monument to peace.
It's, in some ways, the last frontier of the Cold War.
Yeah, exactly. And, now with new experiences like the gondola, the epitome of capitalism, cafe, and, expanded access to history tours, it's also becoming a deeply human destination. So, yeah, I would like to go there too in the future if I can.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like you learn a lot. Kai was saying that even his girlfriend learned a lot about Korea from the tour itself.
Went.
Oh, I don't know. He tried to go. He couldn't go to the JSA, I think. But I remember when my grandfather was still alive and he would visit Korea, he said that's one place like he couldn't go to because emotionally he couldn't.
Yeah.
Like it just kind of reminded him of all the things. Remember, like he was one of the people that came down from the north, separated, from his family because of the war and things like that. And I heard even with people who just go there with just kind of curiosity, they all come back very, very emotional. All right, Angela, very fitting, especially given today, again, ladies and gentlemen, the 75th anniversary of the outbreak of the Korean War. Angela, thank you as always. Have a safe rest of your night. We'll see you again tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
All right, sending her out of the studios. Take a listen to a song here from XOK with History.
거기선 집에가 얼른 나와 You little demon in my storyline Don't knock on my door I'll beat you
Coffee break. Today's tidbit.
All right, it's time for a coffee break. Today's tidbit. Joining us in the studio is Angela. Angela, hello to you.
Hi.
Hello. I'm back to the basics here.
No, I was gonna do one, but then
Are you gonna come with like every day with a different kind of accent?
why not? How are ya?
Hey, what is that?
I was trying to go for an Irish one, but Irish is so difficult.
It is very difficult.
Their vowels are like in the back of your mouth.
Well, I could do a whole bunch of accents in one, and I'm not even trying. We're going to go into our tidbit today. What are we going to talk about?
Do you remember when we discussed stolen Korean cultural artifacts being returned to their homeland, like early in May?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So we discussed a bronze Bodhisattva statue from Pusoksa Temple back then. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I remember how the history of it, and then like it was stolen, and Japan had it, and it was stolen back, and then they had to return it. No, because I was so mad. Because I remember reading the article first, and then you talked about this, and so we're going to be talking about cultural properties again.
Yeah, well, because another major cultural property has just made its way back to Korea, a whole building this time, known as Gwanortang. It was disassembled for shipping from Japan, and it was a royal structure believed to be connected to the Joseon dynasty, and it had been sitting in Japan for over 100 years.
Yo, so of all the things that they could steal, then they're stealing buildings and this, like assembling it and sending it over to Japan?
They stole a whole building 100 years ago.
They stole a whole country back then, so why not a building, right? So how did it end up in Japan in the first place?
So during the Japanese colonial period in the 1920s, Gwanortang was transferred to a Japanese entrepreneur named Sugino Kisei. He later donated it to Gochukuin, a Buddhist temple in Kamakura, and the Kamakura temple is actually really famous among Korean tourists as well because it has a giant Buddha statue. And for a long time, actually, Gwanwol-dang sat behind the Buddha, like almost forgotten, and it was just there.
They just forgot about it?
Yeah, it was just it was not sitting, but like, yeah.
So it was like part of a temple complex all this time then?
Yes, but like it wasn't originally built for that purpose. Based on recent research, Gwanwol-dang most likely served as a royal shrine or ceremonial building tied to the Joseon royal family. The architecture, the scale, and even decorative patterns suggest it belonged to someone of high rank, possibly a daegun or a royal prince.
Oh, okay. And what made it special architecturally though?
So it's actually a really beautiful building with a richly adorned wooden frame and an iconic matbae jibung or gable roof. So I prepared a photo of that.
Okay.
Yeah, so a matbae jibung is a roof which has a main ridge and 4 gable ridges, with the gable ridges sloping straight down and not extending outwardly like we'd see in a lot of Korean architecture.
Right.
Experts also found evidence of vibrant tancheong, the traditional Korean decorative painting on Gwanwol-dang, on every inch of the wooden structure, although now it has quite faded. Some of the tiles even had dragon and bat patterns on it, which were typically reserved for significant palace structures.
I mean, we're looking at a couple of photos here that show this. I mean, it seems very eerie. You could see a lot of age in it, but then architecturally, though, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, it's absolutely beautiful. There's a lot of history in it.
Yeah, and it's really unusual for a whole wooden building to be covered in tancheong and, tiles.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and now for the first time ever, Korea is getting back not just an artifact, or fragments of an artifact, but the entire structure. So that's what makes this so historic. And while we've had partial returns of buildings before, like the Chasondang stone remnants from Gyeongbokgung in 1995, Gwanwol-dang is a full architectural return.
So what changed? Like, why is it coming back now a century later?
So, a lot of diplomacy, a lot of patience.
Sure.
In fact, an earlier return effort in 2010 had already failed, but starting in 2019, Korea's Heritage Service and the Overseas Cultural Heritage Foundation reinitiated discussions with Gotokuin, where the Gwanwol-dang was standing, and the Japanese side eventually agreed and even covered the dismantling and transport costs themselves this time.
I mean, it's like, guys, you stole a building.
Yeah.
It probably doesn't look good when you steal a building. You might as well just bring it back and save face here.
Fun fact, actually, it was apparently pretty easy to steal buildings back in Joseon, Joseon era buildings, because they were actually made to be dismantled and then built again. So that's why a lot of buildings have been stolen during the Japanese colonial era.
I mean, why would you steal buildings? I mean, I just don't understand. Like, go through the hassle of I can understand it's beautiful, right? But again, we'll take it. It's a big gesture. Did they give any reasons, though?
So the temple's head monk, Sato Takao, said he hoped the building would regain its value in its original cultural context. Understandable. And he also plans to set up a fund to support joint research between Korea and Japan on shared cultural heritage. So I think it's a hopeful sign of cultural diplomacy.
Okay, yeah, it is very meaningful. But where's Gwanwol-dang now, though?
The dismantled parts like roof tile, stonework, and wooden beams are currently being stored at a preservation facility in Paju. Experts are still studying the components and deciding whether to restore the building to its latest form or try to reconstruct how it originally looked like.
No, I mean, even at that state, it looks beautiful. But imagine if you kind of make it better again, right? And then there's a lot of process into kind of bring it back to its prime form. But there's still some mystery surrounding it, apparently.
Yeah, so for instance, 상량문, that's the ridge beam inscription that often tells a building's construction date and purpose, has not been found on Gwanwol-dang. They did find some newspaper from the 1960s under the flooring, though.
Yeah, that's quite interesting, I have to say.
Yeah, but the lack of the 상량문 makes it tricky to determine where exactly in Korea Gwanwol-dang originally stood. Some say it may have been located in today's Seoul area, near the former royal residence sites in Jongno or Tongnido.
So it sounds like we're not done learning about 관월당 yet.
Yeah, but just the fact that it's back opens up a lot of doors, both literally and historically and for research. And continued interest and effort is the reason, why this is needed for experts to continue their work.
All right, there you have it. We're going to continue to talk about the return of this beautiful building. And speaking of coming back, let's take a listen to a song here from Infinite with Come Back Again, 다시 돌아와.
아무도 널 대신할 수 없어 아무리 노력해봐도 안돼 정말 안돼 이런 날 네가 제일 잘 알잖아 너 없이 나 아무래도 안 되잖아 괜찮다면 잠깐만 얘기 좀 해 아무리 바빠도 아주 잠시면 돼 그래도 한 번만 다시 기회를 줘 너 없이 나는 살 수가 없어 이렇게 널 포기할 순 없어 꼭 한 번만 더 날 받아주길 바래 정말 나의 욕심이란 걸 알지 마 다시 돌아와 다시 돌아와 다시 돌아와 너 하나밖에 없어 아무도 널 대신할 수 없어 그래도 한 번만 다시 기회를 줘 다시 돌아와
Infinite with Come Back Again, 다시 돌아와. We've been talking about a return of an entire building that was stolen from us. We talked about 관월당. I mentioned 차선당, 경복궁, another building coming back to South Korea. Let's talk about this.
So Chaseondang was one of the key buildings inside Gyeongbokgung Palace, the residence for the crown prince and princess. And, as royals, they needed their own space to live, sleep, eat, study. And this building served that function. And this was another building that Japan managed to steal.
No, guys, you can't be stealing stuff where people need to live, eat, and sleep. That's very important here. So it must have had a long history then.
It did. It was first built in the early Joseon era, officially constructed inside Gyeongbokgung in 1427 under King Sejong.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Crown Prince Munjong spent most of his youth there, and his wife Queen Hyunduk gave birth to King Danjong in that very building.
So what exactly happened then?
So, history lesson again.
Very nice.
It was burned down during the Imjin-Weran or Imjin War in 1592, rebuilt in 1866, then sold off and dismantled during the Japanese occupation in 1915. The stones from the building ended up in Tokyo's Okura Hotel as a garden ornament.
Jeez, come on now.
Yeah, and after decades of effort, especially by Professor Kim Jong-dong, it was returned to Korea in 1995, but it had been so badly damaged that it couldn't be used in the restoration. So instead, the fragments are now preserved between Gyeongcheong-gung and Doksan in Gyeongbokgung, and it was opened to the public in 2012.
That's a slap in the face. That's a slap in the face to be able to, number one, steal this and then just put it as an ornament in some hotel in Tokyo.
So it just shows how lucky we are to, be able to bring back Gwaneo-dong and actually restore it.
Yeah, I mean, it took nearly a century to get back historic stones, right?
Which is, why bringing back a complete building is such a rare event. And, it's really a huge milestone in Korea's efforts to reclaim its architectural heritage.
All right, so what can you tell us about the Korean artifacts and we was talking overseas?
So as we mentioned last time, there are still thousands of cultural properties outside of Korea, many taken during the colonial period or earlier through looting and trade. And, it's not always easy to get them back.
Yeah, and I know that you said there's thousands and thousands, and these are only like the ones that we know. But like, can you give us one example?
So, one recent example is the Jejumo Kwanabam. It's a temple bell. It was cast in 1690 by a legendary bell maker named Kim Erip and later hung at Jeju's government office gates. It was used to signal curfew or official events, but again, during the Japanese colonial era, it was taken to Japan and now it's sitting in the Nez Museum in Tokyo.
And is Korea trying to get this back?
Obviously, but that's where things get complicated. The bell is held by a private museum, and under Japanese law, it's considered personal property. So even Korea's Heritage Service has said it can't legally request its return. Unlike Gwaneo-dong, which was voluntarily donated, this bell would also require the owner's full cooperation.
Yeah, and that's the thing with like the private ownership is that it usually, again, I told you this before, but a buddy of mine, his uncle was working for the organization that tries to get back all the historic artifacts, and because most of them are in the hands of private collection, it's very hard.
Exactly,
it's very hard to get them, and it's wild how much history can get tangled up in legal and diplomatic red tape.
Yeah, exactly, and that's why each return, like the Gwaneo-dong building, is really a small miracle, and it takes years of negotiation, cultural understanding, and sometimes just the goodwill of individuals which we can only hope for.
That's the thing, right? And then although there's not many, there are some who do donate it back. I mean, it was...
like the case with Gwaneo-dong this time.
Right, exactly. Speaking of cooperation, do you have any updates on the Pusoksa statue that you mentioned earlier?
Yeah, so the temple, we talked about this in May. The temple on Tsushima Island that had the Goryeo-era Bodhisattva statue, at the time we discussed it on Coffee Break, the statue was bound for Japan, and Japan hadn't given any response whether it would provide a 3D scan for the statue. And now, in a new gesture of goodwill, they're providing 3D scanning data of the statue to Korean scholars for preservation and study. So it's too bad it has to go back to Japan, but at least we can get a 3D scan of it.
There is no at least. We're going to get that back. How many years it's going to take, we need to get that back here. But I remember the legal battle regarding this being very, very intense.
Yes.
But still though, this is somewhat of a good news.
It's a silver lining.
Yeah.
And, it shows that cultural diplomacy can still happen, after the courtroom battles. And so, again, a lot of perseverance, a lot of diplomacy is needed for us to get these cultural artifacts back. And, it's not perfect justice, but it's really a step toward healing.
Again, I mean, we've seen... thanks to diplomacy in general, that Japan was returning a lot of the things that was initially Korea's. For example, I think the one big thing was, remember the manifest on the ship that sunk from many of the Koreans that were in Korea, in Japan, coming back to Korea, and somehow, mysteriously, and still there is no single answer as to why that ship sunk and why so many people on board that ship died. The manifest. Japan had it the whole time. But, because of diplomacy, here it is. We found it. And little by little, I mean, that's the other annoying thing. Why do you give it little by little if you had it the whole time?
I mean, I think it's is it so hard to just, say we did wrong, we're sorry, here's, the evidence.
Well, I mean, they don't have a very good track record.
It's so frustrating.
No, it really
Yeah.
is. Sorry seems to be a very hard thing to say for Japan there. But still, though, little by little, hopefully through diplomacy, we get these back. And I imagine all this ties back to Korea's push to redefine cultural property, right?
Exactly. In fact, Korea's Cultural Heritage Administration, I mentioned this in May, but recently rebranded as the Korea Heritage Service. So the idea is to treat cultural heritage not just as artifacts, but as national legacies deserving careful stewardship whether they're here or abroad. So really, we can only hope that they do more good work for us.
Yeah, again, I mean, there are so many thousands and thousands of historic I keep saying agriculture artifacts that's taken from Korea during different eras. But over time, hopefully, we'll get more positive news that comes out. Angela, I want to thank you very much with these updates and some more tidbits on the cultural artifacts here. Have a fantastic rest of your night. We'll see you again tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
All right, sending her out of the studio. Let's take a listen to a song here from Kang Daniel with I Hope.
Coffee break. Today's tidbit.
All right, it's time for the latest coffee break. Today's tidbit, and joining us in the studio is Angela. Angela, hello to you.
Hi, SJ.
So, what are we going to talk about today?
Straight to it.
Yes.
Is there anything you hate?
Oh, there's so many things I hate.
Let's give us some examples.
I hate snakes.
Oh.
I hate humidity. I hate... Wow. Now I can't think about it. I mean... There's not a lot of stuff I could say on air. On air stuff. There's also much I can say. Why do you ask though? What do you hate?
I hate bugs
in
my house.
My wife hates bugs. Like she's scared of bugs.
Yeah, I mean.
Like every bug?
Yeah.
Like she's like that with every bug. Like even like ants and like even what is it the fruit flies? Like all bugs.
Yeah.
Are you afraid or you hate?
No, I am afraid of the big ones.
Okay.
Like the cockroaches and stuff.
Yes.
But specifically I hate bugs when they come in my house. That's when I just lose it and freak out. I'm okay if I just meet them in the street. I can just, go around them and stuff.
What years ago, my dad lives in the countryside and he sent over open, right? One morning, I wake up very early to go to work. You know what came out from it?
I don't want to know.
You know the ginormous centipedes?
Oh, God.
The red ones with the pincers? I had to keep cool because my wife found it and she was about to lose it, right?
No, just hearing the story just makes me lose it. I hate it when bugs, I hate it when bugs appear unexpectedly inside the house. It is my worst fear ever.
So we're trying to figure out how in the world something like that could even be in a city. It was from inside the box.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Oh my God.
It was all red.
Oh God, why are you doing this to me?
And big.
Yeah.
But anyways.
Summer is full of bugs.
Oh, I don't like mosquitoes neither.
Yeah.
I hate mosquitoes.
Yeah.
Anyways, what are we talking about? Are we talking about bugs?
Yeah.
Oh, I know what we're talking about. I know what we're talking about.
This is unfortunately, we are going to talk about bugs, and this was one of the hardest things to look up for me. My skin was literally crawling the entire time while I was preparing the script. But yeah, mosquitoes may inevitably come up because, summers and mosquitoes can't keep them apart. But we're not just going to talk about any bugs. We're going to talk about the ones that make, people scream at baseball stadiums, abandon their hikes halfway up the mountain, just stop dead in the streets and yell.
It's the boom boom bugs.
We are going to discuss that too.
I hate those. So yeah, what are we dealing with here?
So the three big names, the love bugs, the tinkerbells, and the 갈색여치, or the Usur brown katydid. And yes, those are their real nicknames.
Yeah, so tinkerbells don't sound scary.
Yeah.
But
have you seen one in person?
Not in person. I've seen it on news reports.
Yeah, so tinkerbells, they don't sound scary, as you said, but Koreans call Oriental mayflies tinkerbells. So these are the glittery bugs flying at you. Imagine them flying at you by thousands in swarms at a night during a baseball game. And that is actually what happened at Tamsil Stadium this May and, every spring and summer season for the past few years. I also only saw it on screen like you, thankfully, but it looked like the bugs were like literally raining from the sky.
Yeah, so the problem is like the Tinkerbells, there's a lot of them by the Han River.
Yeah.
And so the Tamsil baseball stadium is not too far away from the Han River.
Exactly.
And then they see the lights from the stadium and they just...
Yeah,
right?
and if you look at the videos of them, like you can see baseball players and the audience like literally spitting out bugs from their
that's
mouth
disgusting.
because the air was so full of them.
Yeah.
And these oriental mayflies or tinkerbells emerge in massive swarms around late spring to early summer. Their real name is Ephemera orientalis. So if you want to look it up, you can.
So bugs in swarms usually mean bad food is lying around,
Like
right?
what happened.
Yeah. But what causes the swarms of Tinkerbells, though?
So, actually, despite the chaos they cause, Tinkerbells are actually indicators of clean water. They only survive in second grade or higher water quality. So, in a weird way, their presence means your local river's doing great.
So we have a picture of Tinkerbell. If you look at it like this, it looks pretty. It looks pretty.
I'm not looking.
It looks pretty. Just one like that is pretty, right? But if you have it in swarms, like swarms, look at this, like this picture here. Let's zoom in on this. That come on now.
I'm not looking.
That's nasty.
So yeah, the quantity of them is causing the hate.
Yep.
The numbers, during their mating season, the Tinkerbell bugs emerge all at once, what's called a mass emergence. One female lays about 1,000 to 2,000 eggs at a time.
Wow.
And when they hatch and the temperature hits about 18 degrees Celsius, so early spring, they launch. And I don't mean this metaphorically. I saw a video. They literally shoot out of the water and into the air. So it looks like a full-blown bug explosion. It is not pretty.
Something called Tinkerbell. You think something maybe majestic, but it sounds more like a nightmare,
Yeah,
right?
I looked it up. It kind of is. And they are, as you mentioned, extremely attracted to blue light, like LED signs, convenience store windows, and baseball stadium floodlights. So when a night game starts, it turns into what fans call war against Tinkerbells.
You know, sometimes like on the script paper, there's like a real dot, like a weird dot.
Yeah.
It's like bugs.
No,
Bugs
it
that
isn't.
squat. Yeah.
It's ink.
No, this is not ink. Sometimes like little bugs from paper mills. They get pressed onto the paper, and these are the weird spots that come out.
I'm not irked out by that.
Oh man, man.
I'm okay with that.
All right, so Angela, what do cities do to deal with these Tinkerbells?
Many places are trying to use eco-friendly methods. Some areas like Seongdong-gu district in Seoul are replacing white signage with yellow lighting. Others like Yeoju are installing hundreds of insect traps and spraying natural deterrents. Namyangju is releasing predators like mudfish into rivers so they can eat the larvae of Tinkerbells.
Okay, yeah, that's important. And that's just one bug that we've discussed so far. We still got two more.
Oh my god, this is difficult for me. Say hello to the User Brown Kattiedid.
Oh, the katydids. Yeah. I've heard about them.
In Korean, it's known as the 갈색 여치. Recently, hikers have been fleeing trails in the middle of their hikes because these guys also show up in swarms.
So 여치 is tableau. Back when Yoo Jae-suk used to be 메뚜기, and then tableau came out and X-Men next to Yoo Jae-suk. Tableau, they gave Tableau Yochi, the nickname Yochi.
The rapper?
Yeah. Saying that he
Why?
looks like a Yochi. The catty did. I don't know.
Oh.
That's why I know the catty did the Yochi. But anyways, this is the one bug you hate to see in swarm.
Yes. So,
This is not even pretty.
and one person who unfortunately did see the bug swarm in person gave an interview and said it felt like Egypt's locust plague had arrived in Suwon. These bugs used to stick to the southern mountains of South Korea, but because of rising temperatures, they've been moving north and fast. So now you can see them in Seoul.
So the climate change strikes again then?
Yes, so it's coming up a lot these days, climate change, but warmer winters help the Yoti's eggs survive, and when they hatch, the bugs explode in population. They are big, they're brown, they're jumpy, they're very visible, and people describe them as giant crickets with an attitude because that is exactly what they have.
Can they bite though?
So unlike Tinkerbells, these can.
Okay.
They've been known to chew through plastic bags, fruit trees, and even bite humans. Plus, they're often infested with parasitic worms, like hairworms, which makes them even more horrifying. So if you see them, just run away.
So are cities doing anything about the katydids?
Well, actually, not much yet, but they are watching it closely. Since these bugs can affect agriculture, they are a real concern. Last year, Seoul passed a city ordinance to manage mass occurrence insects more systematically, including non-traditional pests like the katydid. And
Again, I mean, the Tinkerbells, I would have thought that maybe it at least looks pretty close up, but katydids are... So we've been seeing swarms and swarms of bugs over the past several years now, but it's getting bigger and bigger, and this is really the summer of bugs now.
Yes, and I haven't even gotten to the third one, which I literally had to battle today on my way to work, so...
Yes, and here's a hint to what we're going to be talking about next. This is 여자친구 with Love Bug. That was 여자친구 with Love Bug. We're talking about bugs. People are talking about cucarachas, cockroaches. You do all right with cockroaches?
I mean, if there is one, I have to catch it.
Like, I'm from New York, right? And so, like, New York, there's a lot of cockroaches of different sizes.
But, like, does anyone like cockroaches?
No, you know, I mean, okay, there are people there are people who like cockroaches.
Okay.
Like they raise cockroaches, like the Madagascar hissing cockroaches. You know them?
No, I do not want to know.
the Madagascar hissing cockroaches. I've seen those.
I mean, I can understand the academic part. Okay.
We're gonna go into our main character today. I've been battling these guys, man.
Yes.
The boom boom bugs. Let's talk about them.
Yeah. So when the Tinkerbell disappear, it's time for the love bugs, as we just heard. And so these bugs look like black flies stuck together in pairs. We have a photo of it prepared because they literally are they literally are love bugs. They stay attached during mating and fly together for days, hence the name.
Like they'll be flying, and they're making love. They'll be attached at the front of my car as I'm driving, and they're making love.
And I only found out today, but like love bugs, they start attaching and they fly around the height of people's eyesight because once they connect, they want to go higher up. So they just float around. They're not flying. They're just floating around attached together. So it's literally love is in the air.
They're going, look at us make love. Look at us. Look at us now. They're flying everywhere.
Yeah.
And so today, actually, one pair flew on my face, and naturally I swiped it, and pops like white, icky white stuff, and it's so disgusting. But then, you know, like it's like whatever, you know, whatever. I ruined their boom boom time, and like I understand, but like it's disgusting. They're everywhere.
Yeah.
Look at this. This is. Oh, there's one guy that does what. Why do they all look single?
Oh my god.
Are these the ones that couldn't find a mate?
So once they start mating, they fly.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. Once they mate, then they fly.
Yeah. Once they get attached, they start flying.
So these are the solo guys, the solos.
Yeah, 나는 solo.
Not a solo. Love bug edition.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
gosh.
but like as you mentioned, they are like sticky.
Yes.
Yeah, and they cover your windows, your balcony, your car. Their bodies are sticky, slightly acidic, so if you don't wash them off your windshield quickly, they can actually damage the paint on your cars.
Really?
Yeah. And you know, they just float around in the air in pairs and it is horrible time for us.
I wonder though, like, are they dangerous though? Because you were saying it's acidic. Now I'm scared because, like, you know, I swiped at my face.
So like they don't bite.
No, they don't.
And they don't spread disease.
Okay.
They're super attracted to bright colors. So if you go outside in white or yellow during peak love bug season, you're basically a walking bug man.
Okay, so then how do you deal with love bugs?
Well, experts say skip the pesticide, and since they're technically beneficial, cities are trying to manage them without harming the ecosystem. The best way to ward off love bugs is to use a spray bottle with water because they hate water. And of course, close the gaps in screens and windows. Wear darker clothes when you go out. Some districts like Eunpyeonggu and Nowon-gu and Seoul are using light traps and drones to monitor and manage their presence. And Mapogo on the 27th showed ways to ward off these love bugs and they said, just be patient because they die off naturally in roughly 2 weeks. So, yeah, we just have another week to...
It's YOLO time for these bugs. But it can sound romantic.
Yeah.
It can sound romantic,
yeah.
Right? And I mean, they're a seasonal nuisance now in Korea right now. Let's face it.
So love bugs, if you want to look it up, their academic name is Plesia nearctica, but they aren't native to Korea. A similar species called 붉은등 우단 털파리. Those are the love bugs we're seeing actually, and they are the seasonal nuisance, especially around June to early July here in Korea. Again, ironically, they're actually classified as beneficial insects because the larvae help decompose organic matter and the adults spread pollen.
Plesia neurotica.
Yes.
Should be called Plesia erotica, to be honest with you. Things that they're doing. Hey, what can the individuals like you and I can do if we hate love bugs and protect ourselves from all these bugs?
So it really depends on the bug, but to sum up in general, wear darker clothes when you go out, especially during the night. When I actually came into work, I wasn't wearing this.
Yeah.
This was because I was afraid this would attract love bugs, so I came out with only wearing the black tee I had under. Also use yellow tone lights instead of white or blue ones. Check your screens and windows at home for gaps and fill them in with net stickers. They actually sell stickers with nets on them these days, so you can look for that. If you're hiking, maybe bring a netted hat or bug spray. And for your car, SJ, if you drive through a love bug cloud, get a car wash immediately because your paint will peel off.
Or stay inside forever.
Which is very tempting, yes. But here's the thing. Many of these bugs, as scary or annoying they seem, aren't technically pests. They are part of the ecosystem. In fact, only 27% of people surveyed in Seoul knew love bugs were beneficial for the ecosystem. But 86% said, I don't care if they're everywhere, they're pests to me, and I can relate to that.
Now, Pensun said, I just got hit by one of the love bugs right now. Keeps sticking to her forehead. That's going to be the worst. That's going to be the worst, to be honest with you. Angela, I know this has been a very tough one to talk about, but we have to talk about it.
Yes.
It really is right now, love bug season right now. But have a safe one. We are going to be playing a song from Eyes One, Up, 하늘 위로. We'll see you again next week.
See you next week.